Hello everyone, so I'm going to go through a pack. I'm going to try not talk at the slides. I'm going to put them in the background. You can have a read and I'll give you the detail behind it. So as I just mentioned, I'm from Fifth 9. The Fifth 9 is because our heritage is all IoT and telco. That's where we came from historically. And in the telco space, telecommunications space, you have to have 4 nines of accuracy, 99.99%, so with a fifth 9 of accuracy. So that's where the title came from. So a bit about myself. So I'm Phillip. So I run the consulting department in Fifth 9. I do a lot of advisory work on the blockchain. So like any new technology, which I'm sure you guys are aware, it's all about that Gartner life cycle of adoption. So it's a lot of going around telling people what it does do, what it doesn't do, and getting through some of the nonsense and the waffle that's out there about blockchain. So I've done some advisory to the government, like House of Lords and MEPs are very keen to know about blockchain, which is quite nice to hear. So an advisory there, and you can see I've been in consulting for about 15 years. So on the right hand side is a kind of just showing what we do as a company, just give you the context. So we very much focus in blockchain, RPA, agile transformation, and technical strategy work. There are kind of our 4 areas of expertise. Okay. All right, so let me tell you a story, a bit of an anecdotal one here. Once upon a time, in a different world, I interviewed Prince Harry. And quite simply, I told him that I was from the BBC, and he told me quite simply to F off. Now, is that true? Am I telling you a lie? What if there was an irrefutable chain of events and recording of that no one could change, and I could prove that happened? Wouldn't that be interesting? So blockchain is all about trust. If you trust everyone in your ecosystem, you do not need blockchain. Simple as that. Okay? You can have a database. Whack it on the cloud, far cheaper, far easier. You've done it hundreds of times, I'm sure. Use a database. If you do not have trust in your ecosystem, that's when blockchain comes into its own. So I'm keen on audience participation here, because quite simply I can stand up and talk at you. So I've got a couple of questions. So put your hand up if you trust your votes, in whichever, I know there's people abroad, your votes were counted properly. Do you have absolute confidence they were counted properly? I mean, if you did, we wouldn't have recounts, right? But we do. What about mortgage applications, the classic one? I mean, I've recently bought a house last year and it took an absolutely stupid amount of time, about 3 months to do it. I don't believe for 1 minute they did that as fast as possible. So last one, how do you trust your eggs are free range? Do you honestly trust that? And the last one, slightly antagonistic here. How do you trust that the percentage of your lottery actually goes to the charity that they're saying it goes to? Who's saying that? It's lottery themselves, right? Do you trust them? Don't answer that. Slightly antagonistic question just to throw out there. Okay, so what is blockchain? I fully get there's going to be a range of knowledge and expertise here, so I'm going to kind of go from the ground up and build it to hopefully fill in some of the gaps you may have on blockchain. So blockchain is all about trust. That's the best way to think of it, and it takes a classic one is a centralized model. That's when you have a database. That's when you have a cloud database. Your centralized platform, which other people poke into. Centralized model. That's the standard infrastructure that most people have. Blockchain is all about distributed model. So there is no central core. It's like the Terminator when I forgot the name of the Skynet. There's no centralized core. That's what the blockchain is. There's no centralized core for it. Okay? Information is kept and masked in multiple places. Therefore, to take it down, to change it, you need a very, very, very powerful computer system to interact and infiltrate every node at the same time instantaneously. Okay? So to say, blockchain enables people to trust each other who have no reason to trust. So I've put an example benefit there. It's all about in-app payments. So this is an example thing for gamification. So if you're buying a game through the Sony platform, for argument's sake, on your PlayStation, at the moment your payment goes to Sony and Sony goes to the provider of that game. Let's assume Sony haven't made the game themselves. With the blockchain, your payment goes straight to that provider of that game. You don't have to go through Sony. Therefore, you miss out that middleman, reduce your costs, much faster, much easier, and also those tax issues and all the rest of it as well. It goes straight to the purchaser, and it's all proven, it's all trustworthy, it's all traceable from that side of things. So imagine if you've got your platform and you outsource it, and people buying from your people you outsource it to, and if you're receiving all of their transactions and processing it, why? Just let them go straight to the provider, from the financial side of things. So first of all, about a year ago, first of all I'll say no one's an expert in blockchain, okay, so that's my first caveat. I've got a technical background, my slides I guess, show-off point is I helped design part of the fuel system in the JSF aircraft that's zooming around. Very, very, very small part of it. That was many years ago, and now more functional with a bit of technical understanding. Okay, but no one's an expert in blockchain. It's not mature enough for people to say they're an expert for it. But about a year ago, everyone associated Bitcoin with blockchain. So this slide is basically telling you, split the two apart, absolutely irrefutably split the two apart. One's cryptocurrency and one's the technology about it. Okay, that's like saying petrol is the same as oil. It's not. One's a purpose to use it during your car, and the other one's the core thing. Okay, so we're talking about blockchain here. We're not talking about cryptocurrency. So blockchain 1.0 was all about your blockchains for crypto. That was your Bitcoins, your Ether, and such like. Blockchain 2.0 was all about your smart contracts. If this happens, then that happens. Cause and consequence. Very strict rules put into programming language, put on the blockchain, cause and consequence. And that's what smart cities will run on, or will be all run on smart contracts. And the third one is your dApps, your applications, and this is where the richness comes in. This is where you can plonk in applications like your mobile phone, like your Android or your iPhone. You've got your OS there and you put the applications on top of it that anyone can develop to use that blockchain infrastructure. So now we're getting into this exciting world where people can develop things freely and sit on other people's blockchains. So from my side, from a Fifth Line angle, we don't own a blockchain. We use other people's blockchains and build applications for our client appropriate to them on whatever infrastructure is appropriate. So think of it as AWS or Azure. People use whatever is appropriate for their customers. Same as what a lot of companies are now doing. Okay? And there's a lot of blockchains out there. So, classic question, is blockchain a database? It's a classic one. If you Google blockchain, I'm sure the first 5 hits will say it's just a database up there. So I've just put this up there just from the difference between it. And one of my reasons for coming to events like this is to say blockchain is not going to save the world. There are specific use cases for it, and there are specific use cases where you absolutely should not use it in any way, shape or form. And the key is knowing which is which. So in some cases, a Microsoft Access database is brilliant. You don't need blockchain, it's overkill for it. Okay? But if you want something that's decentralized, that you have no singular control for it, with a distributed ledger, you want read-write only, that people can't edit or delete, then you're talking to the blockchain world, or things like that. And obviously, transparency comes with the blockchain as well. Okay? But it's more expensive. It is, no way shying about it. It's more expensive to do than a database. They're very easy to spin up in the cloud. Okay? So 2 different types of blockchain. This is very simplified. There's private and there's public. Private is all about a consortium. It's all about, like your Hyperledger, you've got different companies working together to make a private chain. Okay? And only those companies can use that chain. Only those companies can see what's in that chain. Okay, it's very secure, incredibly secure, very fast, because it has limited people nodes connecting to it, but say it's a controlled ecosystem. Public chain is the opposite. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can join it. Okay? And for that reason, it can be incredibly slow. So the chain of which Bitcoin is linked to is famously incredibly slow, but that's a 1.0 style blockchain. The 2.0 style chains are a lot faster. Okay? But the public chains is what we're talking about here, because you've got everyone I assume would want to buy a lottery ticket, and therefore they need to potentially use a blockchain. So talking about a public chain from that side of things. Okay. So, problems today. This is just me. You guys will know this far better than me, so I'm not going to teach you statistics on this. This is me doing a very quick Google search on what the issues are there with the lottery. The last at the bottom, I'm sure you have reasons why that's complete nonsense. That's just what's within the media. Okay, but I've just found those to show about manipulation. But the point of this is all about saying anything held centrally can be changed. Let me give an example. We're working with a tier 1 UK-based telco, and they have a digital buildings capability. And what we mean by that is security cameras in the room. So they can say, they sell the security cameras, it's an IoT device, sends that video footage to a cloud-based software. Now, someone did something in a building, let's say in this room, and they smashed the window. There's now been an example where that video footage was saying is admissible. They're saying, guys, it's on the cloud. It can't be changed. They said, no, it can. You cannot prove to me irrefutably that that video footage wasn't altered by someone, and it was thrown out of court. So we're now working with them to find a way that you can irrefutably prove that that video footage has not ever been changed or touched. And if it has, you've got the full, irrefutable trace of who's done it, what they've done, where, when, how, why, and who on that side, and full access control as well. Okay? So anything held centrally can be changed. You cannot prove irrefutably that it can't be changed at the moment. Blockchain's the answer to that. Again, it's all about trust. Can you trust that no one's changed the information that you're storing? Okay? Also, you know your system from a lottery side perspective, but I thought just give that food for thought on confirming, validating, have those lottery numbers changed? Can you prove that? Okay. Yeah, let's jump on to the next one. So that's just, you see the examples there. I'm not going to talk through them and say, I'm sure you'll probably blow them out the window how false they are, but that's what I found on Google. Okay. Right, so why use blockchain for lottery? So the pros for it, no one knows who you are. So none of these people getting hounded by the media trying to find who they are and whack them all over the sun. There's complete anonymity if you want it on the blockchain. Complete transparent. You know exactly which ID, which fingerprint, which code, let's call the represented person an entity, has won. It's absolutely transparent. You can see where the money's gone. Has it gone to the charity? What percentages have gone to which charities? Full traceability and transparency for that. Your payments are immediate. You don't have to go to a third party. The money goes straight to the end user's wallet. Instantaneous. The number generation is completely random. I'm sure Camelot have their own quite secure number generation, but it can be completely random number generated. Now I fully get, for those who are incredibly techie in this room, will go, no number generated algorithm is ever completely random because it's all done by maths. But as much as they can be unique, they are unique, right? Reduced cost to serve. So parking the fact of the installation cost, which over a database is higher. The actual cost to serve, because it's all instantaneous with less human interaction, it's a lot reduced, cheaper from a cost to serve perspective, because it's all instantaneous, it's all done through smart contracts, it's all done automatically. It will need only human management if there's an error case scenario. Okay. And it's platform-based, so it can be resellable. I know that's your business model, it seems, as well, that you have a platform which you then sell to other lotteries as well. Same thing with blockchain. It can be a marketplace application that you can then sell to other people. Cons, so if anyone taking part, needs to be on the public chain. So this has its potential disadvantages on speed, potentially. That's the main disadvantage from a public chain. And that's causing the delay in the transaction being confirmed. So you're talking at the moment usually around about 4 or 5 seconds, okay, for a decent blockchain. Right? There's some which are far slower, but for a decent chain, about 3 or 4 seconds. And at the moment, you have to purchase on crypto. Now, there's ways around that, and you can give people a fiat currency, so fiat being normal currency, pound sterling, etc. So fiat currency can do the transaction into crypto behind the scenes, so your users don't need to know they're buying crypto, but you need to have the maths around because that fluctuates quite massively, so how are you going to peg it? Some logic and some thought needs to go into that, which isn't insurmountable, but some thought needs to go into it. It's all crypto driven at the moment. Okay. So, how would you use it? So, as I say, this is all about the providing trust. So you've got the different layers. So this is, for those who are architects in the room, very simple architectural diagram for it. So user layer, application layer, infrastructure layer. So your user layer has the nice, pretty GUI. So that's where you request your tickets, you pay your fees in your fiat currency, you get your information back, which will then go to application layer. That's where the dApps sit on it. And you can use your own dApps, or you can get other third parties to develop dApps to sit on the chain as well. And that could convert the fiat into crypto behind the scenes, which will then register that on the blockchain. The algorithm's done on the blockchain, which then records that on the application layer. And all the smart contracts then trigger automatically to identify the winners, who they are, and pay the money. And then the user will then get informed they're a winner, and the money will go into their wallet. All completely automatically, without anyone having to do anything. And it's also completely provable, trustworthy, and traceable. No one can say that did not happen. It's irrefutable that that's happened. And by the way, I can also see X percent has gone to this wallet, and that wallet's registered to the Red Cross, for argument's sake. Okay, fully, absolutely irrefutable from it. And then you can build a dApp to the percentage spin on that to tell people where the money's gone for every single lottery run that's been run. Okay, from your charities. Okay, lottery blockchain's already been done. It's already out there. But it's very early stages, and it's a different success. So the Gexon blockchain is a bit crap, I'll be honest with you. It's recently live. I've put it on here because it is live, but it's pretty awful. The numbers are generated automatically from a smart contract, and you get the numbers from mining the nodes, which only allows it applicable to people who are quite technical. So it's there, but it's not one to follow as a use case or anything like that. Quanta has built their own blockchain specifically for lottery purposes. It's built on Ethereum, which is a public chain, and it uses the Ethereum blockchain. And you can see 85% ticket revenue allocated to user prizes, and 15% go to others. They're quite transparent about where the money goes. And all these people claim that a higher proportion goes to charities than any other lottery that's out there. I don't care to comment on that. You guys know far better than me on what percentage goes where. So they've developed their own blockchain for it. They haven't gone the DApp route. They've gone the actual the infrastructure itself and developed from that side. Kilbose isn't live yet, and they're building, I think, what Camelot does, where you guys have your platform, which you then resell and outsource. They've gone down for the same route. It's not live yet, so I don't know much about it, but it's there. And Fire Lotto uses the blockchain, so the Bitcoin blockchain, to generate the numbers automatically from that side. Now, none of them are great. They're all a bit noddy, and you look back at them in 5 years' time and go, that's like your Windows 3.1 kind of thing. They're really basic. But the point is, the core's there, and people are starting to do it, starting down this road. So you're not the first, you're at the right time to think about it, and you've got people who can go, well, that hasn't worked very well, let's not do that, or that's not worked very well, let's not do that. And you use their learning experiences to make sure you do the right thing as well. At the end of the day, we all learn from people's mistakes. So, to end it, did Prince Harry say that to me? Well, the answer is actually yes. But then he came back and gave me a wonderful answer and gave me a wonderful interview, so it was okay. And that was before he got engaged. Yeah? But I can't prove it. Yeah?